Man-Hour Nation, it is time for some live, raw, uncut NFL talk. I cannot hear the music. Hopefully, Combs, you can hear the music now. I don't know what to do with my hands. But it is time for some Way or No Way. But first.
And now, Mike's thoughts.
Oh, man. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. Chicago Bears fans, you guys are really legitimately upset right now. You guys are upset because I said that your backup quarterback, Tyler Badgett, looked better than Justin Fields on Sunday versus the LA Raiders. You guys weren't only upset, you're like, do you even know football? Yeah, I know that the Bears have a better winning percentage with their backup quarterback than they do with Justin Fields. I do know that Tyler Badgett has 25% career wins as much as Justin Fields. I also know that the team looked a little bit more inspired this week. I also know that the team was a little bit of on the next level. Now, we all know that the Bears are, quote, tanking for Caleb Williams and tanking for the Ohio State running back Marvin Harrison Jr. We all get that. We all understand that. But guess what? Guys, Justin Fields is out of Chicago. The trade deadline is Halloween night. So what, next Tuesday? Justin Fields is, quote, hurt. Guess what, Chicago Bears fans? Tyler Badgett is your future for the rest of the year. This man is going to lead you to the promised land. Wouldn't it be something if Tyler ended up with, I don't know, let's say 5 more wins this season? And I don't know, just hear me out. Matches Justin Fields' career wins in one season and Justin Fields has had 4. Hear me out. What if Matt Eberflus is a good coach? What if Ryan Poles is a good GM? What if Virginia McCaskey is a good owner and Justin Fields just isn't it? What if? Now, those are a lot of what ifs, but the only what if that we need to care about is what if Tyler Badgett is the guy? Cue that intro.
Time, no. I would like to personally welcome you to Man-Hour After Dark. Say that then. While I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Combs. You know, coming to the sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the core. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, to listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Stripes like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs. You know what's going on. Man, now we're after dark, no LA. We the big spark. No 4th and inches won't cut you short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzzer beaters. We coming live, all 3 speakers go.
And what is up, Man-Hour Nation? Michael Buckhouse here with the Man-Hour Show. To heaven to manhourradio.com. Check out the merchandise page or check out the blog section as well. But most importantly, click on that listen tab right here, right now. If you're going to miss any part of the show whatsoever, the full podcast form will be uploaded in podcast form. iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, whatever you listen to, it is going to be out there, and it is going to be live, raw, and uncut as always. But we got to welcome the man, the myth, the legend, the peanut butter to my ladies, the man that spits on his hand and calls it children, Brandon Beastie Combs. What's up, Combsy?
What is going on, Man-Hour Nation? What is going on, Michael Buckheiser? Buck, I got to come at you a little bit here. First of all,
do it, baby.
First of all, it's Tyson, not Tyler.
Oh,
Tyson.
My bad.
And it's Bajent.
Same thing.
Like agent with a B in front of it. Bajent. Like itch with a B in front of it.
Whoa.
First of all, I'm not even going to be mad at you about what you're talking about with all the, Justin Fields, he's better than Justin Fields. First of all, it's a stupid conversation because anything that he did last night, Justin Fields has already done. Tyson Bagent didn't do anything that Justin Fields hasn't already done. As a matter of fact, remember on this show last year when Justin Fields had a similar performance where he threw for 20 completions, 21 completions or something like that, threw for 160 or 180 yards and a touchdown and no interceptions, and the Bears won. And I was like, hey, the kid looked all right, not bad for what they're doing with that offensive line, with a bad offensive line, for him to do what he did, not turn the ball over. And you said he only threw for 180 yards. He only did this. He only did that. And now Tyson Bagent does it, and you're like, he's better than Justin Fields. 2 weeks ago, Justin Fields threw for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. Stop yourself.
Stop yourself. Watch yourself. Show me what you work with.
Good yesterday. He did. He looked good. I'm not gonna lie. He does some things, and I said this in the preseason. He does some things better than Justin Fields does. Some things. Some things, which are just a minuscule amount of things that Justin Fields doesn't do. I agree with you because I've said it. I said it last week. I think Justin Fields is on his way out of Chicago. I think Justin Fields is going to end up being an LA Ram. I like that. I agree with you. He's out of Chicago. This beautiful framed autographed salute to service jersey that I have in my background is about to be null and void because he's no longer going to be a Chicago Bear, and he's going to have his best years winning Super Bowls with the LA Rams.
All right, so since you decided to come at me, I got to come out as you as well. So there's a difference between a first-round pick and an undrafted free agent doing what he did, right? When we think of a first-round draft pick, we think of a guy that is going to, change the franchise, change the world. Tyson Bagent, Mr. His dad's 28-time arm wrestling champion, man. The point of the fact of the matter is we did not expect anything from him whatsoever. So anything that the Bears got from him was a success. And then the Bears want to go out and beat the LA Raiders. Sorry, John. Sorry, Jim. But they go out and beat the Raiders. Not only do they beat the Raiders, they're like, come here, little boy. Sit on daddy's lap. Let me tell you a story about the good old days down there in Division II college. And that is what Tyson did. Whatever his name is. Bagent. That's what he did. Listen, the Chicago Bears are dodging a huge bullet by Justin Fields just kind of shit in the bed. And this kid coming up, right? This is kind of like the 49ers situation, right? They had Trey Lance. He kind of just shit the bed, and lucky for them, they found this guy named Brock Purdy, the very last pick of the NFL draft. Well, lucky for the Chicago Bears, they found Taysom as an undrafted free agent. The man's going to come and save the franchise, Combs. Put it up there.
First of all,
he's saving the franchise.
He's not saving the franchise. Justin Fields did not shit the bed. The coaching staff, the front office, they shit the bed for sure by not doing anything around Justin Fields, by not putting anything around, not protecting your asset. You have no. Did you know that yesterday, since Matt Eberflus took over, it was the 31st different arrangement of offensive line. He's only been the head coach for 23 games, and it was the 31st different arrangement of offensive line. So you can play that hardball you want. I'm not. And you're going to sit there and tell me that if any quarterback was sitting there between 31 different arrangements of offensive line, and not only that, but 31 different inept arrangements of offensive lines, they can't block a pillow, Buck.
That's why he got Badgett, man.
Justin Fields has not shit the bed. Justin Fields is done in Chicago. He's going to go flourish somewhere else with a coaching staff, with a franchise that knows how to develop a quarterback. That is not the Chicago Bears. And all you Chicago Bear fans out there, me being one of them, however, I am not the one of this ilk. I am not the one saying that they need to go and get themselves a quarterback in the draft. Because you know why? If you draft a quarterback in the first round with either the first, second, third, fourth, fifth pick, you're going to have 2 of the top 5 picks this year. If you go and draft a quarterback, you're wasting that pick
Because you already
this
got the franchise
for
quarterback.
40 years has shown that they cannot develop a quarterback. What the Bears need to do, and maybe Tyson Bagent can be good. I'm not saying he can't. The guy set all sorts of passing records in D2, but it was D2. We don't know what he can do in the NFL yet. We're about to find out. But
there's been several Division II quarterbacks that have had success in the NFL ranks. Carson Wentz.
You're going to look at a guy or a franchise that needs to go out. If they're going to go out and get a quarterback, it needs to not be through the draft. It needs to be through free agency, and it needs to be a veteran quarterback that can help Tyson Bagent along in his career. Because if that's the route you're going to go, I'm whatever. At this point, when it comes to quarterbacks with this franchise, I'm so done that I just do whatever. Do it. I don't even care. You draft an offensive lineman, you go out and you draft Marvin Harrison Jr. You go and get the best pieces around whatever quarterback you decide to throw in there, because this franchise, I'm done, dude. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it with this franchise and with quarterbacks because they can't develop one.
All right, so Combs has officially become a Vikings fan now. Hoffy is now a Dolphins fan, and I have officially become a Denver Broncos fan.
I am
so
not
everybody's
a Vikings
switching
fan.
teams.
I'm still
everybody's
a Bears
switching
fan.
teams.
Unfortunately,
we got some people in the chat here. We got XD Gamer in the chat. He says, "Hi everyone, what is up, XD Gamer?" And of course, he comes back right off the back here. Says, "Buck, you like the Jaguars now?" Listen, I've never hated the Jaguars. I just think they've been highly, highly overrated, and we'll see them possibly move. But they are. Four wins in a row for the Jaguars there, Holmesy. They are trending up in the right direction, right? I mean, they're playing some good football right now.
They're playing good football. They're 5-2, I believe now. Pittsburgh and Cleveland surprisingly hanging in there. Cleveland without Deshaun Watson, he got banged up again yesterday. They're still finding ways to win football games. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, same thing, and they got Deontay Johnson back yesterday. The Pittsburgh Steelers aren't going away anytime soon. Sorry, I jumped around to the AFC North. I'm talking about Jacksonville with a 2-game lead on Houston in Indianapolis. Indianapolis looked all right yesterday. Houston looked all right yesterday. Indianapolis did end up losing that game, though, didn't they? It was like 39-38.
There was a pass interference call in the end zone that was not a pass interference call. The ball was very uncatchable. The ball was in the stands, and they called a pass interference, giving the ball to Kareem Hunt at like the 1 yard line, and Kareem Hunt pounded into like a 39-33 win or 38 win. It was a very close game.
Yeah, but their point differential in Jacksonville, plus 27. They've won 4 in a row, 5-2 after that 1-2 sluggish start. They're playing all right, but they also, I mean, who have they beaten? We talked about this last year with them. They had a bunch of ugly wins late in the season. Now I'll give them a good win against Buffalo. Mm-hmm. That's their one good win. They got destroyed versus the Chiefs. They did not look very good versus the Chiefs at all. But they've beaten the Colts. They've beaten the Falcons. They've beaten the Colts again, and they beat the Saints.
Right.
I'm waiting for them to hit their tough part of the schedule, which they're about to hit. I mean, this coming week against the Steelers is going to be a tough game for them, but then you got the 49ers, and then you still have to play the Bengals, you still have to play the Ravens, still have to play the Buccaneers. So
right. True tests are coming.
Want to see what they do against those types of teams before I anoint them, but they are playing good football.
Yeah, they are playing very, very good football right now. We got John Peoples in the chat as well. It says, "Good morning, the genius under 500." So John did not have very good NFL picks this weekend. I have taken like a 4-game lead in front of him on our jersey bet. I did make some early morning changes, Combs. I had the Raiders beating the Bears. I'm like, you know what? AOC isn't starting. Give me the Bears. So I picked your Bears. I was rooting for the Bears, and then I changed the Commanders and the Giants, but that was a mistake. But it is what it is. But
I picked the Raiders.
Did you? Got Arthur Brown is in the chat as well. It says, "Buck got a 12-year-old face." Listen, my wife did not like the mustache. She said, "Get that mustache off of your face or no whoopee for a week." Well, it's been 2 weeks now.
How did you lose the mustache and look more like a pedo?
What do you assholes? You guys are assholes. Assholes. Jesus. Hype, plain and simple. What are you talking about, John? Hype about what? I'm not for sure what you're talking about. And Hoffy's in the chat. Maybe. Arthur says, I am sick of the Eagles and their brotherly love push. It's got to get banned. Hang on. It is okay. I agree as well, but it is okay when they're doing it against the Kansas City Chiefs. It is okay when they're doing it against the Buffalo Bills. It is okay when they're doing it against the Dallas Cowboys. When it comes to your team, get that out of here.
No.
Get that out of here.
Here's the problem I have with it. And the only problem that I have with it is that they banned a long time ago from defenders pushing other defenders into the line for injury purposes. But now you're going to tell me it's okay for the offense to do it. There's no injury purposes on the offensive side. It's a double standard. The league tends to lean towards offense and rules that help the offense more than they do the rules that help the defense. AKA can't put a fingernail on the quarterback's helmet. Otherwise it's contact to the head.
Yeah.
God, that drives me nuts. But you can't have it be good on one side and not good on the other. I'm fine with it if they say, look, we're not going to ban the tush push, but in those circumstances when the tush push and you can tell that they're coming, if they're up against the goal line or whatever, you're allowed to stack the line, the defensive line, and push as well. And then I bet you're going to see a lot more offenses go away from it.
Right. And just also add to the fact, me and my wife were talking about this the other day. I'm like, what if they just because when you're like messing around with like your son and he's coming at you and you're like, whoa, and he just runs right on past you and then you go get your thing. What if the lineman did that to the offensive lineman of the Eagles? Like, whoa, and then just massed Jalen Hurts. Like, that would end that so fast, I bet. But but it's always power versus power.
There's lots of things. So you're talking about like the old, like when you don't like a call from a home plate umpire and you just tell your catcher to let the ball go.
Yeah.
That's the type of thing you're talking about. Something Hoffy would do.
Yeah, something like Hoffy would do. Speaking of Hoffy, the Hofstetter is in the background there. Hoffy, make sure you unmute yourself before I bring you on to the show. But, guys, we have a segment coming up called Ask the Hofstetter. So if you guys got any stat questions out there, here coming on hour number 2 of the Man Hour, you can ask Hoffy. But, Hoffy, how was your weekend? I see you're wearing a Patriots jersey now, but
we're back, baby.
Oh, good God. Your microphone sounds terrible. You're back.
Oh, yeah, Mike fucked it.
Hoffy, I'm trying to welcome you onto the show. I'm giving you props. I wanted to give great win for your Patriots, and you're like, fuck you. Like
you weren't going to mute me as soon as I started speaking like always.
I never. All right.
I know.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and move on to
Patriots
the show. Hoffy
suck.
Doesn't want. Yeah, the Patriots still do suck. But
defensive rookie of the year right
here. Oh, now all of a sudden you're back on the bandwagon? What happened?
I mean, I still got my fins up, but, I'm repping what should have been the defensive rookie of the year.
Oh, geez.
Ordered the jersey week 1. It didn't come in until week freaking 7 after he's, on IR for the rest of the year. Oh, hell no. Sauce Gardner couldn't sniff Gonzalez's jockstrap.
Wow.
Jets are better than the Patriots.
They are.
Facts.
And moving on. That's all he's got. But the Hofstetter is in the background, guys. He is the man behind the chat. So if you guys got a question for Hofstetter coming up, stat questions, whatever you want, ask him in the chat. And Arthur Brown says, thank Hofty for beating the Bills and then shutting them up for a week. So Arthur Brown and Hoffy, you guys are 1-1 there. Both Miami Dolphins fans. So Hoffy, there you go. You got your praise. All right, Colmsy, let's get into the heat and potatoes of this show. Week 7 has been a kind of this has been a week where I don't know what to do with my hands, Combs. I'm I'm just like, damn, I thought I knew this team, and then they go and lose, and damn, this team sucks, and they come back and win. So what is your biggest surprise from week 7, Combs?
If you don't know what to do with your hands, just do what you normally do with them. Put them in your pants.
Oh, great. Gotta edit that out.
my biggest surprise from this weekend was definitely the way that the Lions lost. I picked the Ravens to win. I just thought it was going to be a lot closer game. They did not put up a fight whatsoever. The Lions looked really, really bad. I'm not going to say the Ravens exposed the Lions by any stretch. I'm just going to go out and just say, hey, look, the Lions, they had their bad week, and they were due for a bad week. And boy, did they really, really have a bad week, because Lamar Jackson just did whatever he wanted to do to that defense yesterday. Again, this team, both of their losses, I believe when they lost to the Seahawks, I think they gave up 38, maybe 40 points when they lost to the Seahawks. So every once in a while, this defense seems to have a letdown. And I can't even say it was a trap game, because they get to play the Raiders, who don't look very good right now. Don't even know who their quarterback's going to be. Then they get the Chargers and the Bears and the Packers. So a bunch of really bad teams for the Lions coming up. So I wouldn't even say it was a trap game, but definitely a letdown game for the Lions.
So one thing we have to know about the Lions here, Combs, is I think they have 10 starters that are out right now. Over the last 2 weeks, they've had injury plague week after week after week. And they've continued to perform. They performed against the Bucks. They performed against the Packers. They performed against who else did they play before the Packers? Was that the Seahawks loss? Either way, They have been stepping up, and they've been defying the odds, as you say, right? Been playing injury, and you are right. Every year a team has that game. Every year a team has that game where they just forget to show up. And unfortunately, it was against a team like the Baltimore Ravens, and like how everybody's going to be pumping their chest. Oh, the Lions are just shit. The Lions are just shit. Guys, the Ravens are not that bad. I mean, we've been talking down on them a lot on this show and kind of saying that Lamar Jackson is trash and like all this other stuff. But the Ravens are not that bad. Now, are they a Super Bowl caliber team? To be determined. We'll be talking about that later.
Are we going to be talking about the Lions later on in the year the same way we talked about the Vikings last year? Because the Lions the rest of the year, minus that week 16 or week 17 game that they play against the Cowboys, they don't really play anybody between here and there. And they might finish this season at 14-3 or 15-2 or maybe even 13-4. Are we going to be talking about them being one of those teams that just hasn't beat anybody when they lose? If they lose that game to the Cowboys, minus the week 1 win against the Chiefs, which we know week 1 is week 1 in the NFL, they wouldn't have beaten anybody significant.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at their schedule, they only have 4 or 5 games that are teams that are above 500. The Chiefs, which the Chiefs were without Travis Kelce and Chris Jones, so you can put stock to whatever you want in that game, but a win is a win is a win. But then they did lose to the Seahawks, above 500 team. They did lose to the Ravens, which will be above 500 team. So really, right now, the only other team above 500 that they could possibly beat are the Cowboys, yes, and then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But we saw the Buccaneers lose to the Falcons. Now, I've been high on the Buccaneers all season long. I thought they were going to win the South. Just because they're winning the South doesn't mean they're going to have a winning record. But I think you are right, Combs. I think the Lions are going to be that team. Like, yeah, they are 13-4. They are 14-3. They are the number 1 seed in the playoffs. Congratulations. But who have you played?
Yeah,
let me guess. Who have you beat?
By the time they get the Bears, if they beat the Chargers somehow on Sunday night this coming week, if they somehow find a way to beat the Chargers, if Tyson Bagent has a good game and they find a way, they have the Saints and the Panthers the next 2 weeks after that. By the time the Lions get them, the Bears could be a 500 team playing against them some way, somehow. Look, Bears are not a good team. I believe the Lions are a good team.
Right.
But even if they beat the Bears, and you say you're talking about the teams that they beat with 500 records, right? That would be another team that they beat with a 500 record. You can't put that type of stuff on that resume. You can't put a win against the Bears is not a good win. A win against the Green Bay Packers, if they somehow find a way to 500, is not a good win.
Right.
These teams are not good.
but it is still a division win, right? I mean, and anytime you can win within the division, that is a good thing. Just because you do know each other so well, you do play them twice.
But as good
a
as the
year.
Lions are, we expect them to win those games. They should be
We
winning
do
every
expect
game
them,
in
right.
this division. They should be sweeping this division because they're that damn good. The problem is we don't know how good they are versus competition outside of that division. And right now, what they would have shown us is that they're not that good outside of the division.
Right. So, Hoffy, when you look at the Detroit Lions and their schedule moving forward, how do you expect the Lions to finish? Are they going to be a 13-win team, 14-win team, or does this loss kind of expose them?
I mean, I think every team's going to eventually have a bad game, but that was a really bad game. But, like Combs and you have already discussed, I mean, their schedule is pretty soft. I won't say cupcakes because I don't want to, piss you off, Buck, but let's be honest, they have a good amount of cupcakes left on their schedule here. So I do think that a 13-4 or better record is very obtainable and probably will happen. The one thing that I would say is that they do play, especially playoffs. Yes, it'll be loud and noisy in the dome, but I feel like a lot of teams benefit from the home field advantage of, teams like New England, teams like Kansas City, if they have teams like Miami coming in and such. So you're not going to have that home field advantage in the sense of, if you're playing a team like San Francisco, they're in the dome. I mean, Christian McCaffrey, they're going to be able to run wild. They're going to be able to throw the ball. So I think that could potentially hurt them.
One damn game, and he throws them in there with home field advantage. Get the.
I'm going back to their dynasty, okay?
He is referring to the weather.
Talked about Chicago, but when's the last time they had a home fucking playoff game?
A couple years ago when they double doinked it against the Eagles.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so we do got some people in the chat here. He says, Wayne G. Combs makes a great point. What mind-blowing. How they play versus opponents' averages is why they're going to plummet in the supercomputer rankings. So Wayne G has been the man behind the supercomputer rankings. He's given me the formula, and he's been doing it. So he thinks the lines are going to plummet. But
I can't believe he said I had a good point.
I know, like the world has freaking frozen over.
I can retire right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to retire. No, I'm not going to go there. John says Swifties are going to write another breakup song as they lose in the first round of the playoffs. Chiefs are not winning and losing in the first round of the playoffs. Let me go back up here. Sure, it is if you respect them. I suppose. Like, what are you guys talking about? Oh, the Chiefs. You guys are talking about the Chiefs in the chat. Awesome. But my biggest surprise
They're not
over the
listening
weekend.
to us. They're like, we're gonna have our own conversation.
That's fine. You guys do what you want. You guys do what you want. So my biggest surprise over the weekend was definitely the Detroit Lions loss. But how about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers go from a top team, they're clicking on all cylinders. I'm like, man, pounding my chest. This is a good freaking team. And they bring out those ugly orange-ass uniforms, and they have not won a game since then. Those orange creamsicle jerseys, first of all, the ugliest jerseys I've ever seen in my whole entire life. Even worse, those Philadelphia Kelly greens. Those are ridiculous.
What? You are out of your mind. The Philadelphia Kelly greens last night are probably better than their normal home jerseys. The creamsicle Buccaneers are beautiful, beautiful jerseys, sir.
Yeah, if you have lines across your TV at the 480p, like they're ridiculous.
You probably hate the Astros throwbacks too, right?
What'd you say?
What?
So do you love the Packers throwbacks then?
I don't like anything about the Packers. That's a stupid question.
No, I'm talking to Buck. Or is it the Broncos that have like the brown uniforms?
Listen, those Bronco uniforms are sexy as hell.
Oh,
but
God.
they got the big old D on the side. I'm used to having D's across.
I was
my
gonna
face
say
like
you
that.
love D.
But that thing is just beautiful, and like that brown. Oh man, the Broncos are iconic, man, iconic. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they are on a 2-game losing streak. They're not playing good football right now, and when you lose to the Falcons. Yes, I understand it is a division game. Yes, I understand the Falcons are might be good, might be bad. I don't know what the Falcons are. I'm so confused with like the Falcons, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers surprised the hell out of like how many Combs of like how they lost to the Falcons. They just didn't play good.
I picked the Falcons this week. I didn't expect the Buccaneers to win this game. The Buccaneers aren't that good. They beat the Vikings, the Bears, and the Saints this year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you, me, and Hoffy could beat the Vikings, Bears, and the Saints.
I wouldn't say that.
And they got the Bills coming up next week, who are going to be really pissed off after losing that game in New England. The Buccaneers they're not that good. They still got the 49ers on their schedule. They still got the Colts on their schedule. They'll probably give the Panthers their first win of the season.
Oh, you shut your horse mouth right there.
The Bucks aren't good.
Listen, you should be rooting for the Bucks then. You should be rooting for the Bucks all season long because the better they do, the worse the Panthers do, the better your team doesn't
nothing
get.
with the name Buck has ever been good.
Wow. Wow.
I was waiting for my turn, but you beat me to it.
Damn.
I love you.
I know. We're all friends here. We're all friends, but fuck you guys. Tim McWall is in the chat. And he says creamsicles are awesome, but the problem is they lost so much in them. They have a bad connection tied to them. It is like every time Notre Dame wears those golds that they lose too, Combs. You know all about that.
They won in the Golds the other day.
Yeah, but
it's USC,
like,
sir.
1 out of like 100, and like you're bound to win one. Tim McWall says the Vikings win tonight. What?
No.
What?
You got
Vikings win it.
Who do they even got? I don't even know who they got tonight.
They play the 49ers.
I'm in baseball mode still. They play the 49ers tonight. They're not beating the 49ers? What are you, out of your mind? Brock Purdy's going to throw for like 800 yards tonight.
Whoa, let's not get too crazy.
They still got Justin Jefferson on the IR. I mean, I hope Jordan Addison goes off because it'll help my fantasy team tonight because I need like 20 points from him. But I don't. There's no way they beat the 49ers tonight.
Listen, any given Sunday, any given Monday, this NFL season has proved one thing, that anything can legit happen. I mean, the 49ers do have Debo out, so he is out. So it is going to be, a lot of Brandon Ayuk, and we've shown that he cannot really sustain that carriage, and it's going to be a lot of CMC, and he already has been injured this season, and we know about CMC's injury history. Once it starts, it's just compounding and compounding and compounding. So it's going to be a close game because the Skull Nation is going to be skull. It's going to be loud. It's going to be right.
Oh my God, Jesus!
The 49ers win
every week. Like at some point, you've got to come out of that closet that you're in and just admit that you're a Vikings fan too.
I'm not a Vikings
fan. His wife won't let him. She's got a padlock on it.
Like you got I mean, you've got the Chiefs, you got the Cowboys logo in the background. Every once in a while I see you wearing a cheese head. You might as well just put one logo from every NFL team out there. And when they're winning, you can be like, "Oh, I'm a fan of this team." Just point to the logo.
Speaking of logos here, we got this nice little merch here. It says maybe next year for the Detroit Lions fans. So
yeah, you finally make that logo, and now they're 5-2. All the time, all the years you were repping them and say, "Oh, they're gonna win the North," and they would finish at 5-11 or 5-12, and now you're like, "Oh, they're gonna suck maybe next year," and now they're 5-2. Good call.
Yeah, good call. Hoffy says, Tim, you are off your rocker. And then Jim wants to break me with this shit. Jim, what is wrong with you? He says, Lainey Wilson is better than Taylor Swift.
Look, if I see Taylor Swift and Brittany Mahomes one more time doing that stupid handshake that they like,
that was awesome.
I wanted to kick a baby yesterday when I saw this.
Whoa.
There is no damn, like, I am so tired of seeing Taylor Swift on camera. Like, I can't wait for the day that we have to listen about how Mahomes and Kelsey both had a bad game because Taylor and Brittany ran off together.
What? Like, would you have a bad game if your girlfriends ran off with each other? Like, I'll be like, oh, hell yeah, baby.
They're not sending videos, Buck.
Well, damn. Bet you all thought the Browns weren't going to win last week either, says Tim. Listen, I picked the Browns to upset the 49ers right here on the show. So I understand all about upsets. Tim.
The Browns
I
have
just
the
don't.
number 1 defense in the league. So it does not shock me that they were able to slow down the 49ers. The Vikings don't have any of that. They don't have any offensive weapons, and their one offensive weapon that they did have is on IR. They're not good. They're not. They don't have a run game. They don't, and their passing game is subpar. They don't have what it takes to beat the San Francisco 49ers, whether it's in Minnesota or in San Francisco or anywhere else on the planet. The San Francisco 49ers are going to run roughshod over the Minnesota Vikings. I promise you. Do not. I'm just saying this for betting's sake. Do not put your money on the Minnesota Vikings tonight.
Oh, I would take them. Oh, like
You're out of your mind.
Betting with the point spread. Oh, hell yeah. Give me that point spread all day long. But Tim says Browns defense
like 19 points.
Exactly. So you think the Vikings are going to beat the 49ers are going to beat the Vikings by 19 points? I don't think so.
It's a 7-point spread, by the way.
I don't think it'll be. I think it's going to be a close game. But no. Tim says Browns defense. How'd they look yesterday?
Pound the over.
They look tired. They look tired yesterday. What are you laughing at, Hoffy?
You. They look tired. Whatever you're gonna do to make yourself look good.
What are you
talking about? They had a bad game. They looked tired.
I'm so
the Browns defense.
Browns defense.
Oh, well, yeah, the Browns defense did have a bad game yesterday, but prior to that, this team, I mean, what do you like? They gave up 3 points to the Bengals? They gave up 3 points to the Titans.
Yeah. Did Joe Burrow amount more than 100 yards that game?
I think he had 88, right?
He's looked pretty bad all season, but he's also playing hurt. I think they had a bye week this week, I believe. I think that's going to help them out a lot because they can get some rest on that injured leg. But Burrow hasn't looked very good at all. But Cleveland's defense, they've been stout.
All right, so I see Rob in the chat. First time Rob's in the chat. I see him in our comments all the time. But Rob, welcome to the chat, man. I'm glad you were able to join the live show here. And he says, although my team was a beneficiary yesterday, something has to be done about the officiating. Combs?
It's never going to happen. I promise you. We've talked about it. You've got to understand that the officiating in the NFL, people tell me all the time, oh, bring out your tinfoil hat. Officiating in the NFL is controlled by Vegas. Keep that in mind. If your team has bad calls against it, go onto your local betting site. See what the odds are for the point spread. See what the odds are for the over-under. See what the odds are for the spread. See what those odds are. And I promise you, one of those 3 numbers is going to follow that penalty call. It's going to make sense to you at that point. But let's throw all that aside. Let's throw out the tinfoil hat. Let's throw all that aside. If it's not that, then the NFL has the most incompetent officiating crews in all of major sports because they are atrocious. I mean, absolutely. There was a call yesterday in the Bears game, Bears versus Raiders game. And this was after a guy got hit it should have been called on the Bears. And this is what I'm telling you. The Bears should have had a pass interference call because they hit the guy about 30 seconds before the ball got there. No call. On the ensuing drive, a Raider, barely, as the guy was running past him, put his hand out, brushed his hand off of his shoulder. The ball got overthrown, and they want to call illegal contact downfield.
It was.
Stop.
What do you mean stop?
Stop. Because it was not illegal contact downfield. The brush of the shoulder happened at the line of scrimmage.
So you're telling me that...
And they didn't throw the flag until after the ball was overthrown.
Well, they have to wait to make sure the ball is catchable, right?
No, they don't. What are you talking about? There was a call last night in the Sunday night game, or maybe it was the Chiefs and Chargers game. There was a ball that was so overthrown, it almost landed in the stands, and there was a pass interference call on the play. They didn't wait. They didn't say, it was uncatchable. They still called it pass interference.
Well, I'm telling you what they were doing.
It's because the officiating in the NFL is the worst officiating in any of the major sports out there, period. And that includes
I
the
will give you
NBA that has been shown and has actually been found guilty of fixing games.
Yeah, I will give you that. I will give you that. And Rob said it's been bad all year long. It's been
league wide
very,
though.
very
It's
bad.
not just your team. It's league wide.
Yeah.
I heard the NFL was looking to bring in Angel Hernandez.
They probably he'll probably call a foul ball on the first play, throw a flag.
We need one more, then we all could be officials.
That's
Listen.
when I officiated USA hockey, I once had a parent climb up on the glass to yell at a call that I made. So I skated past him and I took my whistle off my fingers and I tried handing it to him. And he's like, I don't want that. I said, yeah, because your fat ass probably can't skate. And then I met him out in the hallway because he wanted to wait for me out in the hallway. And he starts barking about the call. And you know what I did? I handed him my USA hockey officials card. I said, here, all you got to do is take one class. And then next year you can make your own calls.
So you're telling me you got to take one class that you passed to be an official?
Yeah. You have to take a test and then you have to take a skating course. They have to know that you can skate.
And you passed it.
Your fat ass can skate?
My fat ass can skate.
I'm just kidding. John, take off your tinfoil hat. And he says it's because the NFL is fixed, period.
You'd have to catch me first, Combs.
The NFL is not fixed. But, guys, let's get into some way or no way of the day here, guys. So way or no way is very, very simple. I've been putting some little feeders out on the old interwebs, and I've been seeing what you people have to say. So we wrote down some of the key things here that are kind of tickling our pickle here. So we put out a comment, we put out a statement, and Combs and I discussed if it's a way or if it is a no way. Very, very cut and dry, very, very simple. So let's go ahead and get into it. But first, Combs, are you ready for it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it, he says. I was hoping for a hiccup, but you are good to go here. All right, so guys, the first way or no way of the day here. The Miami Dolphins have now played two teams with winning records, and they've lost both of those games. So, Combs, I'm going to kick it to you first here. Way or no way, are the Miami Dolphins overrated?
I'm going to go no way on this. I still believe that this offense is pretty damn potent. They have lost the two games versus teams with winning records. I'll give you that. But the teams that they're beating, I mean, they're beating them and they're scoring at a high rate. I mean, the 70 points on the Broncos was pretty impressive. Beating the Giants 31-16, putting up 42 in Carolina. Beating the Patriots in New England 24-17. It's not an easy task. As Hoffy pointed out, I mean, the Patriots do have home field advantage. Stupid. But anyway, the Dolphins are not overrated. The Dolphins are one of those teams that, look, they're going to have bad games. Every team in the NFL, there's I don't believe there's any team in the NFL that's equipped to go 17-0. You're going to lose games, and we can come out here, we can overblow it, we can say, oh, well, they've only lost versus these two winning records, and they've only beaten teams with. They can't beat anybody except for the team that's in front of them. They can't control the other team's records. They are winning these other games. They are beating these teams convincingly. And yes, every once in a while, you're going to run into a team that can get into a shootout with you. You're going to run into a team that's defense might be able to shut you down for a night. And that's exactly what happened to them last night. They got shut down for a night.
So when you look at the Miami Dolphins, you are telling me everything that they do well, right? They beat bad teams really, really bad, and they lose to good teams. They get shut down 4 a night, right? So they get shut down by the Buffalo Bills, a good defensive team that put pressure on Tua. They got shut down by the Philadelphia Eagles. Just the Miami Dolphins come out the third quarter. They scored a touchdown, maybe two touchdowns. Oh, everything is the world's fun. But then the Eagles like, you know what? Hold my beer. We are back. So when you look at the Miami Dolphins, you are saying they're okay. They have a good offense, but their defense is a little bit of suspect, right? The point of the matter is that the Miami Dolphins are overrated. Sorry, Arthur Brown. Sorry, whoever else is a Miami Dolphins fan out there. Hoffy, I am sorry. The Miami Dolphins are overrated. When you cannot repeatedly perform against teams that you could possibly play in the playoffs, in the Super Bowl, and you get smacked week after week after week by them, You are not a good team. Now, the Dolphins will benefit from having a easier schedule
Eagles
moving
were
forward.
in the Super Bowl last year, Buck.
Okay.
They're one of the best teams in the NFC. You're acting like they went out there and lost to the Bears.
I'm not. What I just say? They are repetitively losing to teams that they could play in the playoffs and Super Bowl. The Eagles and the Buffalo Bills. They could play both those teams in the playoffs, and they're getting beat down physically, mentally, up and down the field. But when they go play the Chargers, 2-4 Chargers, they put up 36 points. Okay, cool. You are beating down bad teams. Congratulations. I.e. Dallas Cowboys, right? You guys are beating really bad teams, but you can't beat the 49ers. What does it matter? The Miami Dolphins are overrated, Colmsy. Face it.
Buck, the Bills, you're talking about the Bills being a good defensive team. First of all, I think they're 4-3. I believe they lost to the Jets during week 1. They gave up 22 points to a Jets team that had just lost their starting quarterback, and Zach Wilson came over and put up 22 points on them. You're talking about that loss that they had to the Jaguars, where they gave up 25 points to the Jaguars. How about the loss yesterday to the Patriots, where they gave up 29 points to the Patriots in New England? You're going to tell me that that's a good defensive team? That's why the Miami Dolphins lost? How about How about 3 segments ago when you were talking about division games are hard to win? They lost to the Buffalo Bills, a division game. It's a tough game to win. Now, the Buffalo Bills, when they go to Miami, might be a completely different story. We don't know yet, but it might be a completely different story because it's a divisional game. Now, you want to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles are a top 2 team in the NFC. Look, and it was a 2-score game. It's not like they got blown out of the water. They didn't lose 70-20.
It was 31-17. They got their asses kicked. 2-score game. Okay, awesome. 2-score game. They didn't score in the first half. They scored 3 points in the first half. They didn't score anything in the fourth quarter. They scored all their points in the third quarter. The most high-flying offense in the NFL. All this speed, all this awesome stuff happened, and they get shut down for 3 quarters? Come on.
Buck, first of all, they did score in the first half. They were down 17-10 at halftime.
Okay, I'm sorry. They scored 1 late touchdown because of a penalty. Thanks, refs.
Oh, my God. Here we go. Always an excuse.
It is not an excuse.
I'm just. They played against a top team in the NFL. The offense did not perform as well as they could. They had a tough game. Now, look, I'm not telling you the Dolphins are going to win the Super Bowl, but I'm also not going to sit there and say that they're an overrated team because they're not an overrated team. They're 5-2.
Who have they beat?
What?
Who have they beat?
Who have the Dolphins beat?
Yeah. They beat the Chargers.
They beat the Chargers. I don't know. Who else they play? The Patriots, the Broncos.
They also beat the Patriots when they had their potential defensive rookie of the year in Gonzalez, who shut down Hill, and they still found a way to win. And they also had,
hey, don't you bring logic into this conversation, Javi?
Yeah. And they're going to play the Patriots, and then they get your Chiefs in 2 weeks. Let's see what they do to your Chiefs.
They're going to get smacked. They got the 21st ranked defense, 19th in pass. Mahomes and Kelsey and Taylor Swift and Brittany Mahomes are all going to have a hell of a day that day. The 26th ranked scoring defense.
Out of the suite that they're in.
Brittany, sure. Taylor Swift, not so much. No, I'm a Swiftie, but it pains me.
Welcome to the dark side, baby. Good. This show just got a whole lot better.
This show just got a hell of a lot better.
So let's go ahead and jump into the comments here. Wayne G says, wait,
there goes the
they are fast,
Swiftie.
But good DCs can neutralize their speed and beat them in a close game. Wayne G with the logic, of course. Wayne G is absolutely right.
I don't even know what he said because it freaking Hoffy. I'm a Swiftie.
Read the chat then, you freaking bozo.
Tim also says, if Dallas was losing those games, they would be called overrated. Listen, you guys call the Dallas Cowboys overrated every time. Oh, the Dallas Cowboys only beat the Jets. Oh, the Dallas Cowboys only beat the Giants. So they got smacked by the 49ers. It's the only reason why we're not talking about this more on public radio or whatever you want to call it is because they're not the Dallas Cowboys or the Miami Dolphins. It's the same exact thing.
It's not the same exact thing.
So when the Dallas Cowboys beat the Jets, 30-10, and then they beat the Giants 40-0 or whatever it was. Oh, it's because they're bad teams. But when they go play the 49ers, oh, the Cowboys suck. But when the Miami Dolphins
beaten, who have the Cowboys beaten?
Exactly. So you guys want to call the Dallas Cowboys overrated and all this other crap, but when we put the shoe on the other foot for the Miami Dolphins, it's like, oh, no, you can't say that.
Overrated.
Everybody.
Nobody.
When I put the number 5
they're just the easy joke because they're supposed to be a top team in the NFC. Everybody every year picks the Cowboys to win the Super Bowl, and then they end up going 13-3 and losing in the second round of the playoffs like they do every damn year.
So exactly what the Miami Dolphins are going to do.
Yes, probably. Doesn't mean they're overrated. If you go 14-3 in an NFL season, you're not an overrated team. If you go 12-5 in the NFL, you're not an overrated team. The Minnesota Vikings last year were not an overrated team. They were a good team that just wasn't as good as the elite teams in the NFL.
You are drunk right now. The Vikings got so lucky last season. What, they had a negative point differential. They had all these close. I am overrated. That's why I'm on YouTube and not like Chicago sports talk.
The Kansas City Chiefs are overrated.
Sorry that you are above and beyond us in this starlight, Mr. Online Air Personality Guy. But the simple fact of the matter is that
whoa. He's still jobless. Let's not forget that.
That's that is below the belt, and Combs is 5'5", so that's really below the belt. Damn.
Hey, look, I get jobs. They're just usually from my wife at night.
Whatever. John says second round playoffs, and they are out with Miami Dolphins. Tim McWall says the Dolphin game was closer than the score suggests. No, it wasn't. That Miami Dolphins team forgot to show up. Oh, wait. They just played a good team. Everybody's good for a bad game. Just whenever they play the Buffalo Bills.
But how come you use the exact opposite logic when you're talking about your favorite team, the Cowboys? You talk about everybody else using the opposite logic. You're the one that uses the opposite logic. And it was a close game last night. It was more than a 2-score game. What they scored that final touchdown in the final 2 minutes, right?
Yeah.
To go up by 2 scores?
Listen, they could have just milked the clock if they wanted to and make the Miami Dolphins fans feel better about themselves. Oh, we went and lost to the Eagles by 1 score.
Combs, did you really think that they had a chance? I mean, I felt that whole game, even when it was a 1-score game, it just call it wasn't their night, call it a bad game. But did you really think that at any point Miami could even tie the game, never mind win that game?
No, I think the Eagles are a better team. But I'm not going to sit here and say that they got their asses whooped. They didn't get their asses whooped. The Eagles are a better team. The Eagles are a better football team. The Eagles are one of the top 4 teams in the NFL. The Dolphins aren't there yet, but the Dolphins aren't overrated. The question was, way or no way are the Dolphins overrated? No, they're not overrated. They're 5-2. In the NFL, when you beat teams and you are 5-2, it doesn't matter who you beat who's on your schedule. So if you go 16-1, but you didn't beat anybody who was over 500, you're still a 16-1 football team in the NFL. You're not overrated. You might not be as good as the elite teams in the NFL, but you're not an overrated team. We got to stop with the this team's overrated and this team's this and this team's that. So maybe the Bears are underrated. What?
Were the Vikings not overrated last year then?
They weren't overrated.
14-3, 13-4.
13-4. They won 11-0 in 1-score games. That's not being overrated. That's being 11-0 in 1-score games. You know how hard that is to do? So hard to do that it's never been done before in the NFL. That's how hard it is to do in 1-score games. And the Vikings won every single one of them. That doesn't make them overrated. Yes, they lost in the first round of the playoffs. Yes. That's what they did. They weren't. No. Did I think that they were as good as the 49ers when healthy last year? No. Did I think they were even as good as the Cowboys last year? No. But that doesn't make them overrated. It makes them the best team in the NFC North. It makes them the best team in one of 3 divisions in the NFC. And it makes them the best team of one of 6 divisions in the entire freaking league.
But you just said the Cowboys are overrated. And yes, you did.
No, I did not. I said, why does that? I said,
than the Vikings.
I
the
actually
Vikings
said,
are overrated.
she said, who said the Cowboys are overrated? I picked the Cowboys win the NFC this year. I picked the Cowboys to go to the Super Bowl. I don't think they're overrated. I think they're a good damn football team, but they haven't beat anybody of substance this entire season. Name me their good win this year. Come on, Hofstadter. Give me their
Jets.
good. Who's the Cowboys'
Jets.
good win this week? This
Giants.
The week one, they beat, you can say what you want about the Giants, but when you shut someone down the way they did, what did they have? How many turnover? I mean, Jesus.
Good against a team that's what 1-5.
Oh, you just play the teams that are in front of you, right, Combs?
But that's what you're doing, though. This is what I'm doing is I am using your argument against you. You're telling me that what do you mean? You're telling me that teams are overrated when they don't beat teams, right?
Jesus. Get Michelle on the show. She could probably speak better logic than you.
You can't even spell
She's better
logic.
looking, too.
That I agree with.
All right.
Her boobs are slightly larger than mine.
That's weird. Rob says overrated at this point, but they do have several defensive players coming back. Ask this question in another 5 weeks.
Yeah, they're about to get one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL back.
Whoa, like 6 years ago, maybe.
Jalen Ramsey? Yes. And not only that, what happens if you see in 2 weeks that the Dolphins trade for Patrick Surtain? Because the Broncos are definitely shopping him around.
2 weeks.
Who are you going to replace him with?
The trade deadline by then.
No, we won't. It's in 2 weeks.
October 31st. No, we got 1 week next Tuesday.
Okay, so
Deadline.
1 week.
That's not going to happen. Not going to happen.
Wouldn't put it past him.
Not going to happen.
Okay.
And after beating the Queefs,
just don't want
John
it to happen.
says, Arthur Brown says he's a resident Dolphins fan. I'm probably making his blood boil. He says the Buffalo only plays hard against us. So, I mean, not wrong. Rob says their teams they have played this so far this year is 5-24 record. Now I believe it's 6-24 record.
Just like Buck only gets hard for teams that he likes.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. Tim McWall says, I am a Swiftie. Hoffy 2023.
We need to put that
Swiftie bracelet. I'm just not wearing it right now.
We need to put that in a poster.
Everyone calls the boys overrated. Don't even say they don't. Tim, you're exactly right. Everybody calls them overrated. 100%.
Who? The Cowboys?
Yes, everybody calls the Cowboys overrated.
Nobody has called everybody is always on the Cowboys nuts. The only people
Do you
that
not
call
watch
the Cowboys
ESPN?
the only people that call the Cowboys overrated are other NFC East fans, like Giants fans, Jets fans, like all the
Stephen
teams
A.
from
Smith.
the East Coast. Stephen A. Smith hates the damn Cowboys. And Stephen A. Smith, we could talk about him another day.
That's just for ratings.
A lot of things he does are just for ratings.
Yeah.
The whole Tyreek Hill thing.
Yeah. Tim also says you are proving the point that the Vikings were overrated because they were a one-score wins. You can't replicate that. Thank you, Tim. That's the point that I wanted to bring up. Calm says they were 13-4, but they weren't better than the Vikings. Or sorry, they weren't better than the 49ers. They weren't better than the Cowboys. So that indicates that you are overrated. You have 13 wins, but you aren't the best team in the NFL because you're overrated.
Buck, nobody picked them to win that first round of the game. Doesn't mean you're overrated. You are a 13-4 football team, Buck.
Overrated 14-4. You were just proved my point. Nobody was picking them in the playoffs because they were overrated. They were a 13
if nobody
win team
thinks that you
overrated.
can win, if nobody thinks that you can win and you go out and you lose, does that mean you're overrated or does that mean you are exactly what everybody thinks that you are?
Hoffy, does 13 wins and everybody's picking you to lose, does that make you overrated?
I'm going to answer it for him. It's absolutely true.
Thank you.
You can't be the higher seed at 13-4.
If nobody thinks you're good, if nobody thinks you're good,
nobody thought the
can
Giants
you be
were good
overrated?
either.
So let me ask you a question, Hoffy. Are the Bears a good football team right now?
Absolutely. One of the best in the NFC.
You're stupid. The The Bears are not a good football team, but if they win the next 3 weeks, if they find a way to beat the Chargers and then they beat the Panthers like they should,
500, they're the most overrated 500 team in NFL history, even more so than they were last year or 2 years ago, whenever the hell they were 500.
If they get to 500, they're going to be a 500 football team. Are you going to pick them to win the following week against the Lions?
No.
So if they go out and they lose, are you going to say, "Oh well, they were an overrated team"? No, they're not overrated. That's not. If you want to say better than their record says, worse than their record says they are, sure, but that doesn't mean overrated because everybody has you rated where you're at. The Cowboys, we expect them to win the NFC. I expect them to win the NFC. I think they're one of the best teams in the NFC. If they lose in the NFC title game, does that mean that they're overrated? If they go 15-2 and lose in the NFC title game to the San Francisco 49ers, are they overrated?
The way they lost in the regular season, yes. That would mean they're probably overrated if they get boat raced.
Idiots.
And you chose to
I'm pretty sure you're sitting in your basement by yourself, so you're not surrounded by idiots. You're surrounded by a bunch of memorabilia that's worth absolutely $0 because nobody cares or fucking thinks that the Chicago Bears are halfway decent
I will
team.
come and I will boot you in the face. You've got one piece of memorabilia behind you, and you're going to talk about freaking that's worth anything.
There's this one. That's the Brewski. Brady's in the back. I got who the hell's over there? Gordon, Thomas. I just don't show them off. I'm just in my little corner. Where the fuck is it? You know it is. You've seen it, you prick.
All right. Well, that is an ugly ass helmet, by the way. But
fuck you.
Moving on. We do got Tyler Helton in the chat. He says, "Yo." He says, and then Tyler wants to come up and says the Bears is a kind of a okay team. Do not.
Bears are terrible.
Do not boast that nonsense here, Tyler. Good Lord.
Yeah. Buck and Hoffy are the only ones able to boast nonsense in this place.
Yeah. So, yeah. And Matt Cheddar says Patriots wrecked Allen this weekend. Listen.
So far, I've heard the Dolphins are overrated, and the Patriots have a great home field advantage at 2-5.
No, I said when we're talking about their dynasty in the playoffs.
No, you didn't say dynasty in the playoffs. You said teams like that have home field advantage, like the New England Patriots. Don't say you were talking about the damn dynasty. But
we're talking about when Tennessee would have to come in to play New England in January, and it's 3 feet of snow on the ground.
Hey, Hoffy.
When I see you next time, I'm going to smack you so hard you're going to have Buck's mustache on.
Listen, I don't have a mustache
me with a good
anymore.
time. That thing was sexy as hell.
I get it. Yeah, I missed the mustache. I'm really so. Is that the Tuck Rule helmet? Says John. It is.
It's the Tuck Rule helmet. My question is, why do you have a helmet that's worth like $3,000 just sitting on a shelf collecting dust? Where you put that damn thing in a case?
I vacuum every day. Well, my wife does. The fuck you will. You'll sell it.
No, I won't. I'll put it up here with all my other helmets. Look at this one. I haven't sold this baby yet.
You were supposed to give that one to me, you prick.
This baby keeps going up in value. You know why? Because they ain't making this logo no more.
Yes, they are. They're coming back.
They're coming back.
They should, but they won't.
Tyler says the Bears need a quarterback. As a Kansas City Chiefs fan,
the Bears need to
talk about the Las Vegas Raiders and how trash they are. We will be talking about the Raiders here coming up, but let's move on to the next way or no way of the day here. And the Seattle Seahawks, guys, they improved to 4-2 on the season with the win over the Arizona Cardinals. Way or no way are the Seahawks going to make some noise in the playoffs, Combs?
I'm going to say no way because I don't think they get there. They have an absolute gauntlet of a schedule coming up. You talk about a team that really hasn't beaten anybody other than the Lions. Really good win against the Lions. But you beat the Panthers, you beat the Giants, and you beat the Cardinals. And you've got the Ravens coming up. You've got the Niners, the Cowboys, the Niners, the Eagles in succession. That's a tough schedule. I don't think they even make the playoffs. I think they finish the season somewhere around 7-10.
Okay. So when we look at the Seattle
You have to
Seahawks,
play teams in front, I thought.
You do, and the teams in front of you are a complete freaking gauntlet. What do you mean?
You're saying they haven't beat anybody yet. They've beat the teams that are in front of them.
Buck, can mute his mic.
I did. He's talking to himself. I'm just playing music.
Gotcha. Perfect.
I'm kidding, Huffy.
Get him, Buck.
So when you look at the Seattle Seahawks, they are 4-2. They have beat one of the best teams in the NFL, and that is the Detroit Lions. Just they did stumble last night or yesterday afternoon versus the Baltimore Ravens, but they were due, right? They were due for that bad win. Many people are saying that the NFC is so top heavy. You have the top four teams like you have the Dallas Cowboys, Eagles, 49ers, and then the rest of the teams, right? So with that being said, I do think the Seattle Seahawks will make it into the playoffs. They might be a 6th seed or a 7th seed, but they are going to be the most battle-tested team out there. Not only are they going to be battle-tested, they are going to be hungry. They have a nice young nucleus there in Seattle. They are just getting better and better and better each and every week. Their running game is spectacular. Jackson Smith-Njigba getting more and more better each and every week. DK Metcalf, he's saying, you know what? You don't like me? F you. I'm going to do what I do, and that's what makes DK Metcalf so freaking awesome. Geno Smith, the fans were saying, bench Geno, we want Drew Lock. And what does Geno Smith? He says, you know what, guys? You want Geno Smith? Watch this. Goes out there and has a game of his life yesterday. And I haven't even talked about the defense yet, Combs. That defense, Legion of Doom 2.0, getting better each and every week. As I do not think they will win the NFC West anymore. They are going to get the 49ers a run for their money. They are going to do some work. And when they make the playoffs, they're not going to win one game. They're not going to win 2 games. They might win 3 games in the playoffs. Stop sleeping on the Seattle Seahawks. Stop being sleepless in Seattle because the Seahawks are the real deal. Battle-tested and ready, and they are poised to make a great playoff run. San Francisco 49ers fans, watch out. Dallas Cowboys fans, watch out. Who else is in there? Eagles fans, watch out. Seattle Seahawks, baby. Put on that lime green and navy because they coming.
You just said they're going to the Super Bowl.
You heard that right, baby.
Smoking.
I'm not smoking anything, baby. I'm high on life. I am high on the facts, and the facts are defense wins championships.
Let me give you some facts. You want facts, you want numbers, you want a reason why this team is not all that is correct. DK Metcalf says, you don't like me, I'm doing my thing. I'm doing my thing so much that the overrated guy on the overrated team Miami Dolphins has 600 more yards receiving than I do this year.
Aww.
He has 337 yards receiving. He doesn't even have as many catches as Tyler Lockett. Geno Smith doesn't even have as many passing yards, as many touchdowns, and he has more interceptions than Justin Fields. Justin Fields has more passing yards, and he didn't even play this week. Justin Fields has 4 more touchdown passes. Didn't even play this week. Geno Smith having the game of his life yesterday does not sit there. You're going to sit there and tell me that this team, with this schedule that they have, that are sitting here at 4-2, are about to be a Super Bowl winning team, but the Miami Dolphins are overrated? You're out of your mind. They might not even beat the Browns this weekend. Then you got the Ravens. They better beat the Browns, Commanders, and Rams. They better.
Okay.
Because that's how you get your 7 wins. Other than that, they probably don't win the game the rest of the season.
Oh, you were just...
I will say they always give the 49ers fits, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them eke out one game, whether it's home or even down in Santa Clara, against the 49ers. I mean, we do talk about division games, and I do think they could easily, not necessarily easily, but I do think they could beat the 49ers in one of those games. But that'll be their one and only playoff win, and that'll be in the regular season, so that doesn't count as a playoff win. But just to piggyback off of Combs, Pea shooter Mac Jones has more yards than Geno Smith and has just as many touchdowns. So, he was off to a pretty decent start, but he's cooled down outside of his last game where he had a pretty good game, but starting to slow down.
Back to the beginning of the show, you were talking about Justin Fields and how Tyson Bagent is better than Justin Fields. But if Justin Fields is so bad, his numbers are better than this guy who you say is going to the Super Bowl. Listen, you're out of your mind, dude.
The reason why he has, quote, simmered down is because Kenneth Walker is no longer injured. That other running back that they drafted this year, he is coming and doing his own. They are a two-back running back system, and they are nickel and diamond down the field. And DK Metcalf is that play guy, but they're not a big play team. They
have
grinded
600 yards rushing all season, dude.
Okay, yeah, but the last two games they have been 100 plus every game. So don't give me that. Now the first couple games, the rushing attack was suspect, right? That first loss versus the Rams, I think Geno Smith threw for like 50 times, something ridiculous. But the Seahawks are coming, baby. John says I got brain damage. Brain damage. What do you guys think about that? Do I got brain damage?
I think you might. After what just came out of your mouth, I don't know if you fell on your head. I don't know if Cindy slapped that mustache off of you, but you might have a little bit of CTE.
True story.
The three of us all have it, so let's be honest.
Yeah.
Facts.
True story. I was surfing in shopping carts when I was about 4 or 5, and my mom's like, she did the little jerk thing, and I flew out of the shopping cart and cracked my head on the concrete.
Oh, jeez.
Haven't been the same since.
That explains
Arthur
a lot.
Brown says, we have the number 1 offense in the NFL and lost to the Bills and the Eagles, and yes, and we are overrated. But the Seahawks going to the Super Bowl, Buck, what the hell?
Exactly. My point. Thank you.
Listen,
appreciate you.
There's a difference. The Seahawks aren't in the AFC. Seahawks are in the NFC. An easier division, right? Let's use the term very loosely, very air quotey there. Easier division.
Dude, I feel like I'm talking to my ex-wife right now. Like it's just a wall just sitting there.
Which one?
All of them.
Jeez. Hoffy always with below the belt shots. Like, I'm happy for you, Combs. Moving on.
We like Michelle, but
moving on.
Glad
the
you
Kansas City Chiefs moved to 6-1 on the season, and the offense finally clicked for the first half. Second half, the Chargers double team Travis Kelce, and the offense slowed down just a little bit. But Patrick Mahomes does throw for over 400 yards again and 3 touchdowns in that victory over the Chargers. But where, no way, Combs, are the Chiefs the best or the most dangerous team in the NFL?
I think Patrick Mahomes is overcoming a lot right now. I think Matt Nagy has really dragged this offense down, but I think Patrick Mahomes is still finding a way to go out there and win football games, still finding a way to go out there and put up points with some really questionable play calling. Even in yesterday's win against the Chargers, I'm sitting there and I'm like, what are they doing? Why are you doing this? There are a lot of things that they do offensively that kind of boggle the mind. However, I would say, yes, they are probably the most dangerous team in the NFL because they have Patrick Mahomes, because they have Travis Kelce, because they have the Chief Kingdom. That you want to talk about home field advantages, that Kansas City is probably the biggest home field advantage in the league. This football team with this quarterback, Patrick Mahomes is real. I love this kid. I think that this kid in any franchise, with the exception of the Chicago Bears, would be successful. I think that he is one of those guys that will always find a way to win. And he's overcoming a lot right now in Kansas City, and he looks good. And all they're going to do is get better. And that's the dangerous thing. That's the scary thing about the Kansas City Chiefs, is they're only going to get better as they go.
Yeah, and on the flip side of the coin, the one stigmatism about the Kansas City Chiefs that have been the last couple seasons, right, is the defense doesn't really get fine-tuned until week 9, week 10, week 11, right? And then the Steve Spagnuolo defense kind of finally dials it in, right? This year, the defense has been playing at a very, very high level since week 1. So maybe the offense just will get fine-tuned down in week 9, week 10, week 11. The one thing bad about the Kansas City Chiefs this season is the wide receiver issues have finally starting to flourish, right? Last season when they lost Tyreek Hill, they did bring in some other pieces, right? They brought in Juju. They brought in Josh Gordon was still there. They still had MVS, right? And they had McCall Hardman as well. Since then, Juju is gone. McCall Hardman was gone. Josh Gordon is now gone. But they did make a trade acquisition earlier last week. They did bring McCall Hardman back, and we saw McCall Hardman instantly make an impact, not only on the special teams, but a few big catches on the field as well. And
Mahomes
was it
went
McCall
right
Hardman
to him in that first drive too? It was the first receiver you looked for.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously Patrick Mahomes and McCall Hardman have a connection, right? They've been together for 4 years, right? They had that connection. And maybe that's what the Kansas City Chiefs needed, was just a receiver that he can rely on besides Travis Kelce, because MVS, yes, I thought he was going to be a good pickup, but he seems to be kind of a bust in Kansas City. Sky Moore, not doing good.
Do you want to see them go out to Denver this week and just put on a clinic? Do they need to go out? Maybe not Miami Dolphins type beat the Denver Broncos, but they've got to go out and convincingly beat the Denver Broncos for the I guess the perception of this offense and what it's going to be. They need to go out and put up a show, and then everybody will be like, all right, the Chiefs are back. Because for a while, people were talking about, are we worried about the Kansas City Chiefs? Are we worried about Patrick Mahomes? Go out to Denver, put on a show, move to 7-1, and then you won't have that problem anymore.
And maybe it's not even put up a show. Just play a complete offensive game. Just because that is one thing that the Chiefs haven't done all season long, is play good offense all 4 quarters. Last night, they did play really good in the first half. Yes, the Chargers made adjustments. Yes, they did shut down Travis Kelce, but at that point, another receiver has to step up. The play calling has to step up at some point. But I think you are right. I think they need to go to Denver, Combs, and they need to really flex on them, because then they travel to Germany the following week. And we've seen it when you travel overseas. Offense doesn't really travel with you overseas. So they definitely need a very, very good showing this week. David says, no way. The Chiefs are not the most dangerous team in the NFL. David, let me ask you this. I know you are a Chargers fan. Why are not the Chiefs the most dangerous team in the NFL? Like, we know what their offense is capable of. We've seen it. And now their defense is playing at, Combs, can we say top 5 level defense? Their defense is really good. Like, if the Chiefs aren't the most dangerous, who could possibly be the most dangerous team in the NFL? Combs, any ideas?
San Francisco 49ers.
Right.
San Francisco 49ers are right up there. The Philadelphia Eagles are right up there. I think the Eagles, Niners, Chiefs, and the Ravens, I think, are probably the 4 that are on one level, and then it's everybody else fighting to try to get up there and find a way to beat these guys.
And to be honest, I was dogging the Dolphins earlier, but once the Dolphins do get Jalen Ramsey back, and they had Xavier Howard out out as well, their defense at some point is going to step up and probably be a shutdown defense.
Yeah,
Hoffy, you are a Dolphins fan now, but are the Chiefs the most dangerous team in the NFL? Up, baby.
I mean, I think so. They got the third best scoring defense. They're 7th in scoring offense. And yesterday, Travis Kelce continues to show why he's probably right now the best tight end. He's making an argument for league history, but definitely in the league right now. I mean, it was National Tight Ends Day, and he definitely flexed yesterday. 12 receptions, 179 yards, 1 touchdown. We saw Hardman come back onto the team. was targeted right away by Mahomes. Yes, there's chemistry there already, but I think they're going to continue to build that. And that's going to, he's only going to have, even better games with the fact that they're going to have to double team Kelsey. It's going to leave him with, single man coverage. So I do think that the Chiefs right now are more dangerous than any other team, and even more dangerous than they have been prior years, because they now do have, I know you like to hear this, Buck, a top 5 defense.
Yeah, I mean, defense wins championship. The defense is playing very, very good. And this is also coming from a game which Arthur Brown says Kellen Moore called a hell of a game against the Kansas City Chiefs. That first half, that Chargers offense was, holy crap, I am scared, right? Because they were running right through the Kansas City Chiefs up and down the field. But defense adjusted. Kellen Moore did call it hell of a game, like as you say there, Arthur Brown. So Combs, what is your biggest, scariest thing about the Chiefs? Is like, if they do get hot, their offense does start to click. Could they lose a game the rest of the season?
I mean, yeah, they could. I mean, it's the NFL. There's not one team in the NFL when I look at the schedule and I sit there and I can say, yeah, they're going to win every game the rest of the season. When you run up against teams like the Eagles, the Bills, the Bengals, you're not going to. I would not pick you to run the gauntlet ahead of time, right? Week to week, that might change. Week to week, I might pick you to beat this team and then beat that team, and because you're rolling and you look better and you look good. But this far in advance, I'm not going to pick you to run the table.
Yeah, it is. It is a very, very tough gauntlet for everybody out there. This NFL season in general has been one crazy NFL season. And guys, this was one crazy show. We had a great time with you guys. We got Combs, we got the Hofstetter back there at lock as well, guys. It's been a great show. Hoffy, any closing thoughts before we kick it to Combs?
No, I'll let Combs take us out from here.
All righty, Combsy.
Very gracious of you, Hoffy. Man, our nation, rise out.